On tonight's very special episode of Andy Ari On3 presented by Modelo, it is the first college football playoff selection committee ranking reveal. I know a lot of you may be shut out of watching it because you are YouTube TV subscribers, but hey, you can watch it right here because we'll be reacting in real time to the college football playoff selection committee rankings. Who will be number one? Will it be Ohio State or Indiana or Texas A&M? Will Miami be ahead of Notre Dame? They're not in the AP poll. How will the ranking shake out? We will talk about the rankings as they are revealed, and we will break it down after they are revealed tonight on Andy Ari On3, presented by Modelo. Welcome to a very special edition of Andy Ari On3, presented by Modelo. Sailor Joe in the chat. I can watch it, but I prefer to see you and Ari, and we love you for that, Sailor Joe. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for all of you for being here. If you are one of the people coming because you were shut out on YouTube TV, welcome. We do this all the time. We do this for every one of these, so you don't have to be a slave to your TV provider. You can just watch it with us. We'll watch it for you, and then we'll break it down. And this is going to be really interesting, Ari, because I think there is some debate over who number one is. I know producer River put up a poll. Should it be Ohio State? Should it be Indiana? Should it be Texas A&M? And it looks like Ohio State is winning that one pretty handily. But I'm more interested in the down the chain stuff. I want to know where all those glut of teams that are at the top of the ACC standings, where are they? I want to know where Miami is relative to Notre Dame, because like we're looking at the AP poll right now. Notre Dame's 10, Miami's 18. I do not think the committee's going to do that.
There's a lot to talk about as we get into the show here, Andy. First of all, I wanted to put it on record. I went up and through all the conferences and all the teams in college football, and I calculated that there are 37 teams that could still make the playoff. So
really,
37 teams are alive. I don't know if I want to read down the entire list. It's a long list.
That's a long list. We don't need to go down the whole list, but safe to say a lot of the Big Ten, a lot of the SEC, a whole lot of the Big 12, a whole lot of the ACC is still alive.
A bunch of Group of 5 teams too. In the litmus test of being alive is actually pretty thorough. And then I also came up with some predictions for tonight as we can maybe go through.
Yeah.
As we're waiting.
Let's talk predictions while they kibitz on ESPN.
So some of them I'm not sure if I'm going to be right, but I did it anyway. So my first one is Indiana will be ranked number 1 tonight. I look at the two teams and, there are so many metrics. And I think that we need to clear stuff up for people too, because I was arguing with people on Twitter because it's a national pastime when it's this time of year. And it's like there's this notion of like, peaking at the right time and winning streaks and all these like made up things that they think are important. And I know that they do talk about everything and consider all those things, but the chief criteria to me is always and will always be, has always been and will always be how many quality wins you have. So when I look at Ohio State and Indiana, I see a team in Indiana that has one more win than Ohio State. They're 9-0. Ohio State is 8-0. And they have a win that outshines Ohio State's best win. Now, that's not Ohio State's fault that Texas, went in the wrong direction. And maybe as the season goes on, if Texas keeps winning,
Texas may come back in the right direction.
They might. Yeah, they might. But as of tonight, Indiana, to me, has a better resume. Now, when you're voting in the AP poll, there's a lot of AP poll feelings. Like I feel like I personally think that Ohio State is better than Indiana. That's my feeling. But the committee isn't operating on feelings. If they're operating on data and who has the best resume, an extra win and a better win on the road against Oregon should shine through in my eyes and rank them number 1 over Ohio.
Let's go beyond the best win, because I think we all agree that Oregon, that's Indiana's best win, is better than beating Texas at home. Second best win for Oregon would be Iowa at Iowa, right?
Mm-hmm.
What is Ohio State's second best win? Illinois at Illinois?
I would think that would be the case, yeah.
Indiana crushed Illinois at home. So
they've also beat Washington, so that might play into
that's a good one. Okay, at Washington's a good one.
But I'm looking at the actual strength of record metric, and obviously, if you're undefeated, your strength of record is going to be hard because being undefeated at this point in the season is hard. But Indiana actually has a higher strength of record than Ohio State.
Yeah, because they played a little bit harder schedule to this point.
They also have another game under their belt. Yeah. The other thing that you have to take into account is strength of schedule, and both Ohio State and Indiana are pretty down. So Ohio State is 33rd and Indiana is 39th. Now, the one thing I want to have you help me clear up, because I personally don't know these things, but as you go through the metrics, in the committee's mind, my understanding is that if you have the 33rd best strength of schedule and the 39th best strength of schedule, that the difference between those two is kind of negligible, right?
Pretty negligible.
So what would you?
By the way, speaking of strength of schedule, an interesting stat I came across tonight about the remainder of Indiana's schedule.
Yeah.
Do you know what the combined record of Indiana's remaining opponents is in Big Ten play? So they play at Penn State.
17. It was 1-17.
It's 0-16, Ari.
Yeah. Andy, they're releasing the rankings, so let's start talking about it.
All right, let's talk. Okay, we got 25 Tennessee, 24 Pittsburgh. By the way, Pittsburgh is one of those teams that is still alive for the college football playoff because they only have one loss in ACC play. There's a glut of teams at the top of the ACC with one loss. Washington at 23, so that's an Ohio State road win right there.
Yes, and that might actually be the reason.
To the committee.
Yeah, which might be the reason why Ohio State ends up being number 1 tonight. Mizzou is number 22.
So
I'm proud of them for getting into this fast tonight. Usually it's like a 7-minute.
I like this. Yeah, they're moving along. They got basketball games to get to, so they're going to hurry up. They did explain how the playoff works, and I appreciate that. Except none of the YouTube TV people can see it, but Michigan at 21. This is interesting because I'm not sure. Like, I know all the people who routinely watch our show, who are regular watchers of our show, regular listeners to our show and podcast, that they know that the seeding rules have changed, that you do not have to be a conference champion to get a top 4 seed in a bye anymore. But I'm not sure the common fan knows that yet.
Well, Andy, just because I want to pat myself on the back, I had a projection. One of my
Iowa at 20, by the way. Is Iowa ranked? Iowa's not ranked in the AP poll. Can you put the AP poll back up, Producer River? Yeah, Iowa's not ranked in the AP poll. So again, the committee does this differently, and the committee, I guarantee you, the AP poll, they'll rank Iowa. Well, even if they lose to Oregon, I bet they get ranked next week.
Yeah, we'll see.
It's close.
But one of my predictions coming into tonight, Andy, was that there would be no G5 represented in the top 25, and I will be correct on that one. There's no.
You don't think they're going to throw Memphis in here like at 19? I don't think so either. But
I don't think. I think that if they were going to be in it, they would have been in between 20 and 25. And I think the reason why is because there's no Ashton Genty, Oregon close game. There's a lot of options right now, but there isn't one standing way above everybody else.
USC at 19. USC is obviously still alive in the playoff hunt after beating Nebraska. USC still has to play Iowa and Oregon down the stretch. So they can make it theoretically, but it will be difficult. Okay, Miami at 18. So I was wrong. Miami is going to be below Notre Dame. I am shocked.
I'm going to freak out.
Yeah, this
makes no sense.
Screwed up.
Somebody explain this to me. Anybody in the chat. Somebody explain the logic here.
So here's the deal. Miami beat Notre Dame. Miami and Notre Dame have the same record. Miami's best win is Notre Dame. Notre Dame's best win is USC. Miami should be ranked ahead of Notre Dame. Georgia Tech at 17. They just took their first loss to NC State over the weekend. So a lot of disrespect for the ACC so far.
Yeah. If Notre Dame checks in at number 9, I'm going to and they're probably
they messed this up. Yeah, they did not think this through.
Yeah. And I don't know if Louisville throws a wrench in there. Maybe because Louisville, there's a 3-way deal here. I don't know. I just can't imagine why Miami.
Vandy at 16.
That's wild. That's some wild stuff.
I can't believe they have Notre Dame that low, or Miami that low. Louisville at 15. So maybe the Notre Dame spot will mimic the AP poll because it was 10 and 18. Virginia at 14. Virginia is your first place team in the ACC. They have 0 conference losses. Now remember, They have lost to NC State, but that was scheduled as a non-conference game.
Yeah.
So Virginia is the top of the standings in the ACC. They're the only team undefeated in ACC play right now.
Yeah. And I'm wondering if Miami being so low is because you couldn't come up with a way to rank Miami ahead of Notre Dame while also serving Louisville properly.
That's true. Utah is 13 and 7-2. Utah is an interesting one because Utah has killed some people. They have losses to Texas Tech and BYU, which means Texas Tech and BYU are going to be higher. This says to me, if we are trying to figure out who's more likely to get two teams into the playoff, the Big 12 or the ACC, it's the Big 12.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a pretty high ranking for a 2-loss Big 12 team. I think that's probably a pretty good thing to feel if you're a Big 12 fan.
Yeah, and Utah just beat Cincinnati badly. And Cincinnati, that was their second loss, but only their first Big 12 loss. Oklahoma is your number 12 team. So Oklahoma, we know they got to win out to get in. They will be in if they win out. They will not if they lose. They have to play Alabama, they have to play Missouri, and they have to play LSU down the stretch.
Okay. So now what are you on the edge to see? Texas
at number 11. Now I'm just interested in number 1. Now that we've figured out the Notre Dame and Miami thing, and I'm shocked that I bet we see Notre Dame next. I bet we see Notre Dame at 10. That is exactly the same thing. And you're probably right. It is probably trying to serve Louisville because Louisville has to be above Miami.
Which I think, I could maybe come around on. Because Louisville has a better record and a head-to-head win over Miami. So Louisville has to be ahead of Miami. But if you put Miami ahead of Notre Dame.
Why does Notre Dame have to be ahead of Louisville?
No. And I don't know why Miami has to be down at 18.
What better win does Notre Dame have than Louisville? The USC win and the Miami win are
Miami is the lowest ranked team that will now possess a top 10 win, right? That is like in the hunt still.
Probably, yes. All right, there's Notre Dame at 10. Wow, it mimicked the AP poll. That is wild.
Yeah.
Never in a million years would have thought that would have happened.
Now, do you think that there's like a course correction here? Like if both teams finish 10-2, then they correct that? Or do you think that this is a permanent?
I would think so. Because remember back in 2014 when they kept TCU above Baylor, even though TCU had won the game and they had the same record. And then in the last week, they were like, oh wait, Baylor did win that game. And then they put Baylor above TCU.
Yeah. So I wonder, like, if Louisville loses another game or gets, knocked out of the way, if they'll like readjust that. But that's a pretty wild difference between the two, for sure. I don't want to turn the whole show into Miami is underranked. That's just what I was arguing with people this weekend.
No, but it is the most interesting thing so far.
Yeah. So do you think that they'll do it? You think they'll put Indiana 1? Do you think Texas A&M has a chance?
I don't know. I don't know if they're going to do that. I think they're going to put Ohio State. Especially now that they've completely mimicked the AP poll in the Miami Notre Dame situation. I don't think they're going to. The one thing that
we haven't discussed is more credence to the possibility that they will put A&M number 1.
So Oregon at 9, by the way. So Oregon's going to be below Texas Tech and BYU. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Doesn't really change anything. Oregon's remaining schedule is very hard. They're going to Iowa. They have to play USC. They have to play Washington. So, if Oregon wins out, Oregon is going to be ranked very high.
Yeah. And somebody here in the chat asked a pretty good question. Why is Notre Dame ahead of Texas or Oklahoma? They have the same number of losses, and I think you could make not the case. It's a freaking fact.
Texas and Oklahoma have much better wins than Notre Dame.
And better wins. So, yeah, Notre Dame is overranked here, man. That's not the right place for them. And I'm not saying they shouldn't make the playoff, or if they run the table, they won't make the playoff. But where we are right now, this is what is the number one thing that Notre Dame has going for it to be a top 10 team right now? That they've won 6 in a row? Is that a thing?
Yeah, they're going straight eye test. Texas Tech at number 8. So they're going to BYU above Texas Tech. They play this weekend. They'll figure it out.
Were they blind on Saturday?
I don't know.
If I tested the difference, what I saw was a shit.
Yeah, Notre Dame BC was not pretty. Yeah. BYU at 7. So BYU and Texas Tech are right next to one another.
How about that for the Big 12, huh?
Mm-hmm. So here's the deal. If Texas Tech beats BYU and they play again in the Big 12 and they both win out, which BYU has to play at Cincinnati, so that's no guarantee. But if Texas Tech beats BYU and they both win out, they're both getting in. Ole Miss is 8-1. They're number 6. Ole Miss has the easiest remaining schedule of the SEC playoff contenders.
Yeah.
They're in. Sharpie.
I really need YouTube TV to come back, Andy. It just keeps crashing on me.
Oh, no. Yeah, we were arguing. We were complaining about the ESPN app's terrible interface. It's a terrible interface. Dear ESPN, have a button on the app that says, do you want to watch what's on ESPN right now? So I can just click it. It's not that hard. Number 5 is Georgia. Number 4 is Alabama. So we're done with the SEC now. No, we're going to have A&M. A&M will be next.
Yeah.
A&M at 3.
A&M is 3. Okay, here's the moment of truth.
I think they're gonna probably do a commercial or something. they're gonna milk this
commercial.
We're gonna get the Texas A&M video package.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I honestly I always think that the bottom 15 or the bottom 20 are more interesting than number 1 and number 2 because they're both undefeated and they're gonna play each other. It'll be interesting to see what they think, but I'm not really on the edge of my seat.
The Notre Dame fans are coming in force in the chat.
Well, I was very stern on the internet today about why I would put Miami ahead. So Indiana's 2.
Here's the thing, though, Ari.
Indiana's 2.
If you put Indiana's 2, Ohio State's 1. There you go.
Yeah.
Not surprised. Right?
Yeah.
Are you mad about that? Does it matter?
No, I'm not mad about it. I just think that the thing that makes me angry about this process every single year is the inconsistency in how you rank. So it's what do you like
this from Dr. Fake in 2025? Indiana's non-conference must be punished here. Yes, their non-conference schedule sucked.
Mm-hmm.
They do need to be made fun of and punished for that. They played Old Dominion, Kennesaw State, and Indiana State. That's a terrible non-conference schedule. Play some better teams.
Yeah.
You're good now. You don't have to schedule for bowl eligibility anymore. You're good. Go play somebody good.
It is kind of funny that Ohio State is being accused of having a cupcake schedule when they opened their season at home in Texas, and then they had a Penn State. What do you? It's just sometimes I think that it's okay to make fun of teams when they actively try to schedule easy. But if your schedule works out where the teams that you schedule that are difficult actually aren't that good, that's not your fault. It is kind of a funny thought to me. So the bracket is being released here on your TV, but we'll probably have one on On3 here shortly, so you can actually visualize
the graphics being made. Time to tell everybody about Modelo, the official beer of full-time fans, because you need to crack a Modelo tonight if you're an Ohio State fan, if you're an Indiana fan, because you're feeling pretty good about where your team's at. Crack a Modelo if you're a Notre Dame fan, Ari. Because Notre Dame's in the playoff if they went out. That's what this means.
I want one right now. I need one.
Well, I'm telling you. You go Especial. You could go Modelo Negra. You could go Modelo Oro. You could go Chelada. The Chelada was awesome on Saturday when we were at the Modelo activation at Ohio State. So kickoff means it's time for Modelo. Rankings reveal means it's time for Modelo. Thursday night football means it's time for Modelo. Maction means it's time for Modelo. It is always time for Modelo when you're a college football fan.
Open it, Andy.
Thank you for being here.
Open it. Crack the booze.
Not right now.
Okay.
I might get in trouble.
Hear that noise. Andy, just for the service of people who have been listening, I want to read the list from 1 to 25 so people can hear it.
But first, Dr. Fake in 2025, you can have my money not giving it to ESPN. All right. We thank you. Thanks for the $2, Dr. Fake in 2025.
We'll split it, Andy.
All right.
Number 1, Ohio State. Number 2, Indiana. Number 3, Texas A&M. Number 4, Alabama. Number 5, Georgia. Number 6, Ole Miss. Number 7, BYU. Number 8, Texas Tech. Number 9, Oregon. Number 10, Notre Dame. Number 11, Texas. Number 12, Oklahoma. Number 13, Utah. Number 14, Virginia. Number 15, Louisville. 16, Vanderbilt. 17, Georgia Tech. 18, Miami. 19, USC. 20, Iowa. 21, Michigan. 22, Mizzou. 23, Washington. 24, Pitt. 25, your Tennessee Volunteers.
Now, let's talk about what that would look like as the playoff bracket. So we don't have to do a lot of gymnastics now. So we don't have to worry about who's going to win the conference championship. It is the top 4 seeds are the top 4 teams. So obviously that'll change as the season goes on. But if the season ended today, here's what your playoff would look like. So your 4 byes are Ohio State, Indiana, Texas A&M, and Alabama. You would have Memphis visiting Georgia in round 1. You would have Virginia visiting Ole Miss in round 1. You would have Notre Dame visiting BYU. Notre Dame in Provo. Come on. Let's go. You would have Oregon at Texas Tech in round 1. The winner of Oregon, Texas Tech in round 1. Hold on. The winner of Oregon, Texas Tech in round 1 would be playing Ohio State. Like that's what's interesting about this.
Congratulations, Oregon.
Ohio State would be in the Rose Bowl. We're saying they're the Big Ten champ. Oregon, Texas Tech winner versus Ohio State in the Rose Bowl is a fun game.
Congrats, Oregon. You get to play Ohio State in the second round again.
Congrats, Ohio State. You have to play Oregon in the second round. That's not an easy path. Okay, so the BYU the Ole Miss versus Virginia winner would play Indiana in some bowl game, probably the Peach Bowl would be my guess. The Notre Dame BYU winner would play Texas A&M, presumably in the Sugar Bowl. And the winner of Georgia and Memphis would play Alabama in presumably the Cotton Bowl. So Alabama-Georgia rematch potentially in the second round. That would be fun. That was a fun game the first time around. Remember, if the Georgia freshman receiver does not drop that pass in the end zone, Georgia wins. So that would be it was a pretty evenly matched game. It's a 3-point game. That would be a fun one.
Yeah. I'm just all for the idea of getting some home games at some atypical places. Like going out to places that you don't typically go to in a regular season. Like BYU hosting a game would be great.
Would be awesome.
Texas Tech hosting a game would be
great. If BYU's hosting a game, I'm signing up to cover that one.
You know, it's my dream to see a game in Provo, right? Like I've always wanted to.
We're going to make it happen. We're going to hit the pizza buffets beforehand. It's going to be amazing.
But also Lubbock.
I know.
That'd be pretty wild.
That's the thing. Like you get to pick between like Provo and Lubbock. You go to Athens, you go to Oxford. Like it's all good. Nothing bad there.
Yeah, but we also have to realize too that this is not going to look anything close to what the final bracket looks like. This is fun to visualize, but it's not going to be this way.
I want to point out the first time they ever did this thing in 2014. There were 3 SEC teams in the top 4. Mississippi State, Auburn, and Ole Miss. This is 2014. Mississippi State was number 1. None of those 3 teams made the 14 playoff. None of them.
Yeah. I cannot get over this Notre Dame ranking.
It's wild, right?
I think it's the most.
Do you think? Wait, can I ask you a question about this? Are you and I the crazy people?
Maybe. Like, listen, I'm getting the tornado of like, haha, suck it, Notre Dame hater. It's like, a year ago I was Notre Dame's #1 champion, and I still think that Notre Dame is a very good team, and I'm sure they'll make the playoff if they finish 10-2. But from a way that I understand this standpoint is that the committee operates more on criteria and protocol than it does emotions.
Not this one.
And I wonder if Notre Dame is perfect. I wonder if where Notre Dame is ranked is going to give us an eye into a committee operating differently this year than it has ever operated before. Because this is what we always say, we're not ranking emotions, we're ranking data. Like this is a complete middle finger to the data. Like you're telling me that they should be ranked ahead of Oklahoma and Texas? Like forget Miami for a second. Miami's down at 18. We'll discuss that all week. Why are they ranked ahead of Oklahoma and Texas? Because is eye test more important than quality wins?
Apparently so.
Has Notre Dame beaten anybody on this list? Oh, they beat USC. Okay, so
they beat USC. Texas has beaten Vanderbilt.
Okay,
and Oklahoma. Oklahoma has beaten Tennessee and Michigan.
So Texas has the same number of losses, one of which is to the #1 team in the country, and they have beaten 2 teams ranked ahead of USC.
Correct.
Explain to me in modern English why they are behind Notre Dame based on the protocols.
I cannot. Okay. I cannot.
And like I just look like a hater.
Well, it's not. You don't look like a hater. You just laid out the reason why they should be ranked ahead of them. It's pretty obvious.
And and I want to hear an explanation from somebody who's not a Notre Dame fan about it. Because it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, they screwed this up.
Yeah.
And it's fine. Like, look, Notre Dame is a talented team. You put them in the playoff, I bet they could win a game.
Yeah, Notre Dame could go back to the title game for all I know. It's not an anti-Notre Dame. I'm not sitting here saying that Notre Dame sucks. I'm saying based on the resumes that are available to us and what we're supposed to be using to rank them, they're misranked.
Yeah.
Period.
But we shall see. But where they are suggests that Notre Dame's in the playoff. The other thing this suggests, there are 3 Big 12 teams ranked higher than the highest ranked ACC team. The ACC is going to be a 1-bid league, and the Big 12 is going to be a 2-bid league. That is what the committee is telling us.
Yeah. So is there anything else that jumps out here, Andy, to you that's right, wrong, happy to see? Like, are you happy to see that, Iowa has been...
I think that Big 12 thing's pretty important. Like, what did we talk about at the Big 12 Media Days? What did Brett Yormark talk about? They need some teams to be at the top. They need some teams to separate. That's exactly what's happened. They have had teams separate. It is not the mishmash that it was last year. Now, perhaps it becomes one over the next few weeks, but I don't think it will. I think you're going to have a winner in Texas Tech BYU, and then the only game that you're worried about either of those two and the rest of the way is BYU playing at Cincinnati, which Cincinnati's still very much in the mix. They've only lost 1 conference game.
Yeah. Yeah. Good to see Iowa. I think it's good to see Louisville. Teams like Georgia Tech have gotten some respect. Vanderbilt coming out, because in the past we have seen non-traditional teams have to fight harder to get into the poll. I mean, Boise State last year. I mean, BYU last year I thought was the perfect example. BYU even held a win over SMU, and they were criminally misranked the entire way through. Yeah. So to see them hop up over Oregon and for their record to shine through, I think is an important thing for the Big 12. Now, I don't know that I actually believe that a Big 12 conference situation where 2 get in, I just don't see it happening. But this makes you feel like it's more possible than we woke up this morning.
Yeah. Yep. And here, look, the path for 2 Big 12 teams getting in is Texas Tech beats BYU, BYU wins out, Texas Tech wins out. They are both getting in no matter who wins the conference championship game.
Wait, say that again? I'm trying to think about I'm trying to visualize that.
Texas Tech beats BYU, and they both win out after that. So they will both get in.
Yeah, I can see that. Like, I don't feel strongly against that.
Because if Texas Tech beats BYU, BYU will drop. I don't know how far they'll drop, but they'll drop. But then they'll beat Cincinnati, which will be a good win if they win out. So they'll probably rise a little bit based on that, and then there'll be teams that lose ahead of them. They will both get in.
Yeah.
Now, if BYU beats Texas Tech, different story. Then we'll figure it out. But it's still maybe BYU, Texas Tech, depending on what happens with the tiebreakers and who wins the rest of the way.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, you also have to see who else is available too. And also, we have only 1 year of data of results of the 12-team era. Some committees operate differently. Last year's committee went above and beyond in rewarding conference title game winners. If they do that again, they'll gobble up spots, and it might be harder to get 2 Big 12 teams in.
Jason, there's also a world where BYU is 12-0 and Tech is 12-2 going into the Big 12 championship game. Then Tech wins and a 12-1 BYU gets in. Correct. That's correct. That's also true.
Yes,
that works.
That's right.
Took says Indy beat Texas A&M. Did the Tyler Buckner hold go differently on your television than it did on mine?
That's what they're saying. The whole no, I think that he was referring to another hold.
Oh, okay.
The one that happened.
There was that hold, but they didn't throw the flag. So
yeah, Austin's like, am I the only Ohio State fan in here? No, there's plenty, buddy. I promise you're not alone.
No, Ohio State, look, and we talked about it this weekend. We were at the Ohio State Penn State game. Ohio State is a wagon. They look incredible. And so that's why if we want to quibble over resume, and say that Indiana should be ranked. I don't really care because
I do want to quibble over resume. That's why we're here. Like I do want to.
No, but I don't care when they're going to play. Like I don't care that BYU and where BYU and Texas Tech are ranked because they're playing this weekend.
Yeah.
And Indiana and Ohio State are going to play in the Big Ten title game. I don't see a path, given their remaining opponents, for there to be any other two teams in it.
Yeah. What I think is always fun, too, about these rankings is that you have certain teams that are illustrated on the graphic here that were ranked today that are actually eliminated from the playoff, and there are teams that are ranked or not ranked that are going to be in. So if you don't see your favorite team here, like, for instance, Tennessee, in my opinion, is dead men walking. Like, I don't know if there's anything.
Yeah, they're not getting it.
But there are teams behind Tennessee that certainly have a shot if things go their way. So, like, this isn't the end-all, be-all either. So just remember that if you don't see your team here listed.
Jason Hugg, why not a ranked G5 at 25 over 6-3 Tennessee team that has lost a third of its games? Because Tennessee beat Arkansas just like Memphis did. And Tennessee has better wins than the rest of Memphis's wins. So, USF's a good one. But that's why.
Yeah.
You're still looking at the totality of your schedule.
Yeah. What do you think from 11 to 25, which one of the teams that aren't in the top 10 currently do you think has the highest likelihood of winning the national title?
Okay, so from 11 to 25 would probably
or 24 since 25 is not going to be participating. Sorry,
yeah,
River.
Texas. It would be Texas. Number 11. Yeah.
Okay. What if USC gets hot? I'm sorry. I can't quit. I'm sorry.
If USC, did you watch the Nebraska game?
I did. I watched every.
You think they're going to beat Iowa and Oregon?
I don't know.
I mean, if they do beat Iowa and Oregon, then yes, they're in. They deserve to be in the playoff. But no, if they get hot, they're still going to get smashed by Ohio State or Texas A&M or somebody much better.
Yeah. Also, what about Miami? Do we
not based on what we've seen in the last few weeks? No.
Yeah. I mean, Carson Beck's just not playing well enough.
That's the thing. Miami can get into the playoff and win a game for sure, and maybe win 2 games. There is no way they can win 4 in a row. And here's the thing: they're not playing in the ACC championship game. They can't get up. They cannot get up to one of the 4 spots. So they would have to win 4 in a row if they got in.
Okay, so I am kind of relieved to hear you say this, though, and I think it's important to acknowledge. The team most likely to win the national championship between 11 and 24 is, funny enough, number 11, the highest ranked team there.
Yes, I think that's probably good.
Do you feel like now that you're more willing to suspend what you've seen with Texas and think that this team could figure something out and get hot at the right time?
I think they're going to lose to Texas A&M and be out of the playoff, or to lose to Georgia and be out of the playoff.
Yeah. I have a hard time seeing them overcoming their offensive line issues.
Yeah, 6.2 Nightmare asks, how do you feel about Oklahoma's chances to win out? Not great, Bob.
Not great, Bob.
They play Alabama, Missouri, and LSU. I think they're going to lose another game. But if they do win them all, then welcome to the college football playoff, Oklahoma. You deserve it. Now, what if they lose in overtime in Tuscaloosa and then destroy Missouri and Oklahoma and LSU? I mean, there's your 9-3 team that has a chance. Right there.
I've been saying since the summertime that if Oklahoma gets to 9-3, they will most likely be in. Now, I don't know if that's a weird thing to say because we don't know who's going to be ranked between, 10 and 14 and how many spots are going to be available, because a lot of this stuff too is circumstance based on other options. It's not just did you do enough, it's did enough other teams not do enough for you to have a spot. But if you look at Oklahoma's schedule and they lose in overtime to Alabama, let's actually go through it and see what it would be their so they would have a win over Michigan, who's currently ranked, and I don't know.
You'd probably need Texas to drop 4. You'd probably need Texas to lose to Georgia and A&M so they don't have the same record. Because I think if they have the same record, you're going to rank Texas over Oklahoma.
The problem with Oklahoma is Michigan, I think, is still going to be a good win, right?
Michigan's going to stay a good win. Michigan's probably going to wind up a 9-win team.
A 9-win team, maybe even a 10-win team. If that happens, then they're off to the races. But let's just assume 9 wins. The win over Auburn doesn't mean anything. They lost to Texas pretty convincingly. They lost to Ole Miss convincingly, and then they beat Tennessee. And if Tennessee loses again, they're going to drop out of the rankings.
Yeah, so, and that's true because Missouri, if they lose to A&M this weekend, that could be Missouri's 4th loss.
It's actually possible that
LSU
Oklahoma's tough schedule doesn't amount with 9 wins.
isn't as tough as we thought.
Wins.
Yeah, that's a good point. So, okay, you got to win out, Oklahoma. Congratulations.
But I think that if Oklahoma, funny enough, beats Alabama and then loses to LSU or something, they have a real shot to get in. Like, it's like who you lose to is – everybody always thinks that, like, if you lose to a good team, that's better. It's actually better to beat the good team and lose to the bad team.
So, Jason, again in the chat, is there an unranked power conference team that you could see coming out of nowhere to steal a bid? I think everybody who can get in there is in there. All right, let's check the ACC teams.
Andy, I'm going to put
make
my list of teams.
Can make the ACC title game. Virginia can. Oh, Duke. Duke's the one. I guess SMU could too.
Here are the teams in the ACC that could still conceivably do it: Virginia, Georgia Tech, Pitt, Louisville, SMU, Duke, and Miami. Those are the teams that can still do it.
So Duke and SMU are the two that aren't ranked that would have a chance.
And the only way that
the
only way that those two teams can even get in to the playoff is if they win the ACC.
Right,
but they still only have one loss in conference play, and they're going to need some help. I think we need to figure out too who controls their own destiny in these conferences, because it's very hard to figure out at the moment because they don't all play each other and it's kind of convoluted. But that's that. So let me read.
I think it's Virginia and Louisville. Well, Virginia completely, because they have beaten Louisville. Louisville has beaten everybody else.
Here's another one.
Louisville has handed Pitt its only loss.
Yeah.
But there's more games. Like Louisville plays SMU. Pitt plays Georgia Tech. Pitt plays Miami.
All 7 of the teams in the Big Ten who can make the playoff are represented in the top 25. So there's nobody in the Big Ten that's currently not ranked that could do it. ACC, and here's the Big 12 teams. Cincinnati, Houston, Utah, Arizona State, although that's probably pretty grim considering their quarterback's out. And TCU is an interesting team. He said that
I think if you already have 2 conference losses, you're dead.
They're not technically dead,
but I think realistically you're dead. Utah, because they've lost to BYU and Texas Tech, they have a tough hill.
The reason why TCU is still alive is because they still play BYU, Houston, and Cincinnati. So they play 3 of the teams that are ahead of it. So they could
TCU could make it interesting.
Which is why I had them on the list. So if like TCU won out, I think that TCU would have a pretty good chance of making
TCU
it
at BYU game, because BYU is going to be coming off the Texas Tech game.
Yeah.
If BYU loses to Texas Tech, that's a rough 3-game stretch, because they go at Texas Tech, TCU at home, at Cincinnati for BYU.
Yeah. The independent is only Notre Dame, and then group of 5 teams are because they haven't even been represented at all.
The American champ will get that spot.
Here are the American teams that could still win the conference: Navy, Memphis, North Texas, Tulane, South Florida, and East Carolina.
Mm-hmm. And Memphis and Tulane play on Friday
night. And then I put one other group of 5 team in there that's not there just because I felt right to do it. James Madison. They're 7-1, and their only loss is a 14-point loss to Louisville, which is aging quite well. But I still agree with you, Andy, that the American champion, based on how many teams are really good, will have enough juice to get that final spot probably.
All right, Ari, this has been fun. If you don't have ESPN next week, come join us. If you do have ESPN next week, come join us. We're going to do this again. We'll do this live every time they do the ranking reveal. Also, we have a show every day. Well, Monday through Thursday in season, 3 p.m. Eastern time. Saturday nights after the games end, 11:30 p.m. Eastern time. So we'll have Wednesday's show, 3 p.m. Eastern time. We'll drop on YouTube. You can go back and watch Tuesday's show where we had Big Cat from Pardon My Take talking Ohio State and Wisconsin, his alma mater. Tomorrow, we are scheduled to be joined by Cole Kublik of ESPN, former Auburn center. I wonder what we'll be asking him about. They got a coaching search going on.
Probably
in
Miami.
Lafayette Village on the Plains. Plus, it is Mega Board Wednesday, the best of the On3 message boards. We find the craziest posts and we break them down. So come join us, 3 p.m. Eastern time on the On3 Sports YouTube channel. Yes, Ari.
One thing I wanted to point out, because you might have ESPN back next week, the only show that you can do where you can get the rankings and then ask questions of the people talking about it live is here. So be here next week.
Yes.
It doesn't matter.
And the only show where you can make fun of the people talking about it and they see it, because I know you're making fun of the people on ESPN too, but they can't see it. We can. We will take offense for you. So if you actually want to offend us, you can. That's a bonus that we offer you. All right. I'm cracking Modelo, Ari.
Enjoy it.
Good night, everybody.
Good night. Thanks for being here.